The fishwife. What? No, nothing small. Why? Why? I don't believe it. Neither do I, that's a dream. It was one of the greatest British sitcoms ever made. A show so sharp, so brilliantly chaotic that even today, nearly 5 decades later, fans still quote its most outrageous lines. And yet it was gone almost as quickly as it arrived. Just 12 episodes and then it vanished. But why? What were the real circumstances that led to Fawlty Towers being pulled from the air? Oh, please. Oh, tremendous. Oh, today we're diving into the real story behind the episode that nearly destroyed Fawlty Towers and why its legacy remains untouchable. Imagine checking into a hotel after a long, exhausting day, hoping for a warm smile, comfortable room, and basic hospitality. Instead, you're greeted by an owner so rude and erratic that you wonder if you're on a hidden camera show. This is exactly what happened in 1970 when John Cleese and the Monty Python crew were filming Monty Python's Flying Circus in Torquay, a seaside town in England. They booked into the seemingly ordinary Glen Eagles Hotel, but ordinary it was not. The hotel's owner, Donald Sinclair, wasn't just rude. He was legendary for it. Guests were treated like inconveniences, questioned suspiciously, and snapped at for the smallest mistakes. He was in every sense a walking disaster as a hotelier. One infamous moment involved Eric Idle leaving his briefcase in the lobby. Any normal hotel manager would ask if it belonged to someone. Sinclair didn't. Convinced it was a bomb, he picked it up, marched outside, and hurled it over a wall. Another incident. Terry Gilliam dared to hold his knife and fork incorrectly. Sinclair stormed over to correct him, as though table manners were a matter of national security. Complaints about service were met with irritation. Hospitality nowhere to be found. John Cleese, ever the keen observer of absurdity, started taking notes. He couldn't believe this man was real. In his eyes, Donald Sinclair wasn't just a bad hotel manager. He was comedy gold. Years later, Cleese and his then-wife Connie Booth would turn those notes into a character the world would never forget. Basil Fawlty. Basil was the exaggerated version of Sinclair. Incompetent, short-tempered, utterly hopeless with guests, and prone to catastrophic outbursts. The sarcasm, the snobbery, the chaotic energy, it was all there. Sinclair reportedly never realized he was the inspiration. He passed away in 1981, never knowing his disastrous hospitality had accidentally birthed one of television's greatest comedies. John Cleese didn't create Fawlty Towers alone. His partnership with Connie Booth was the show's secret weapon. They wrote it together, blending Cleese's biting wit with Booth's clever structure. After their infamous stay at the Glen Eagles Hotel, they couldn't shake the idea of a hotel run by someone completely unfit for the job. But their vision wasn't just about Basil shouting at guests. They wanted razor-sharp dialogue, perfectly timed misunderstandings, and characters so eccentric they felt real. When Fawlty Towers premiered on BBC Two in 1975, it wasn't met with glowing reviews. Some critics didn't understand it. One even called it a disaster, but the audience got it. Viewers loved Basil's rants, Sybil's, sharp dominance, Polly's inanity, saving logic, and Manuel's well-meaning confusion. Each episode was like a pressure cooker waiting to explode, slapstick layered with wit. The BBC nearly didn't commission a second series. Only after the first 6 episodes spread through word of mouth and repeat airings did executives realize they had a hit. 4 years later, in 1979, a second set of 6 episodes arrived, and that was it. Just 12 episodes total. Yet, that was all it took to make history. If one episode almost brought Fawlty Towers down, it was the Germans. You probably remember it. Basil suffers a concussion and tries to host a group of German guests. He warns his staff over and over, don't mention the war. Before immediately mentioning it himself repeatedly, the moment that caused the real stir came when Basil, concussed and manic, Goose stepped across the hotel lobby mimicking Hitler. It was classic, over-the-top, absurd, and brilliantly uncomfortable. While many British viewers found it hilarious, some critics, particularly those with close personal ties to Fawlty, found it offensive. German audiences were divided. Some saw the satire clearly, others didn't. The BBC received complaints and discussions were held about whether to pull the episode. Ultimately, it stayed on air and became one of the most famous sitcom episodes in British history. In more recent years, some streaming services temporarily removed or edited it, sparking debates about censorship and context. Cleese defended the episode strongly, pointing out that Basil is the butt of the joke, not Germany. Controversy didn't destroy Fawlty Towers. It cemented its legend. While the show was comedic perfection, the set wasn't without its emotional challenges. By the time they made the second season, John Cleese and Connie Booth were divorced. Yet they worked together professionally, without public drama, committed to finishing the series. Prunella Scales, who played the sharp and commanding Sybil, based her character on upper-middle-class women who could run entire empires with a clipboard and a cutting remark. She nailed it. Andrew Saxes, who portrayed poor Manuel, endured real pain for the sake of comedy. In one scene, Basil hit him with a frying pan, and the first take used a real pan, leaving Sax bruised. In another, he was accidentally burned during a kitchen fire sequence. Yet he carried on, turning Manuel into one of the most beloved sitcom characters of all time. The show ended not because of failure, but because Cleese and Booth felt they had told the story they wanted to tell. Rather than stretching it thin, they left it at 12 near-perfect episodes. Over time, its reputation only grew. Reruns turned it into a classic. In 2000, the British Film Institute ranked Fawlty Towers as the greatest British TV series of all time. Fawlty Towers remains untouchable, a perfect storm of absurdity, sharp writing, unforgettable performances, and daring humor. Even in an age of streaming edits and cultural debates, its brilliance still shines. Whether it's Basil yelling at guests, Sybil cutting him down with a single word, Polly saving the day, or Emmanuel shouting K, this show continues to make generations laugh. It was short. It was controversial. It was iconic. And nearly 50 years later, it still is.